When we first started doing this, I told my kids, we're not selling Christmas trees, we're selling a tradition. You know, you can't have really an old-fashioned Christmas anymore, but you can make it as close as possible. Try and make it as simple as possible. We give people a saw, you cut it down, you bring it back. And that's what we're after, is people coming out as a tradition. And most of them think of it that way.
You know, once you have a tradition, you just kind of stick with it. And it's fun to come out with the kids. Argue about finding which tree we want, and figuring out who is going to decide on this year's tree. That's what I find.
People come out, they don't just come out and get a tree and leave. Most of the times when they come out, this may be the most beautiful tree on the lot or in the field, but they've got to go all the way to the back and look at every tree out here. They may spend an hour or so out here looking for that perfect tree for them. And then they come back up and they have some hot chocolate or spiced cider, and the kids roast marshmallows. I mean, it becomes an entertainment. I think there's a desire with a lot of people to go back to simpler times. I'm Jim Stevens. My wife and I own White Pine Acres Christmas Tree Farm. We came up with the name White Pine Acres because all we raise is white pines. For this area and this type of soil, the white pine is the easiest tree to raise and requires less trouble. They are produced by Tennessee, and they're grown or genetically improved to be a better shaped Christmas tree. The seedlings, they're not available until the first day of July. You have to send an order in to Tennessee Division of Forestry, and you order the trees in lots of 500 or 1,000 or what have you. Then we plant them. They won't show up until January, and the seedlings come in, they're dormant. It's a 2-year-old seedling. They're dormant, they're bare root, and we plant them then in January while they're still dormant. So we usually order about 1,000 trees, and we normally plant around 500 new trees, and then we go back and replant any of the trees, seedlings that have died the year before. We planted the first trees in 1987, 2 years after we were married. We thought this would make a good retirement income. Well, after a few years in Mother Nature and everything else, we figured out we can't really make much of a profit at this. But it was a lot of fun. So after a while, we decided, okay, we'll keep doing it and we'll just call it a hobby. So now it's a hobby, and we've been doing it for over 20 years now. We cut our first homegrown Christmas tree in December of '93. So that was a 6-year-old tree. And it wasn't a very big tree, but we settled for a small tree that first Christmas. And it was a good feeling, and we thought, okay, we're on our way or what have you. But it is a lot of work. A lot of people don't realize how much work it is. It's not just a matter of getting out here and selling trees. There's work to be done year round. We plant 4 rows a year. There's about 117 trees per row, so that's almost 500 trees a year that we plant. And the kids come out, our trees will come in January, and the kids all come out, and we have a planting party, and we plant the trees. Then come mid-June to mid-July, every branch on every tree has to be trimmed. So you look around, there's 4,000 to 5,000 trees total out here, and every one of them has to be trimmed. So that's right in the heat of summer. It's hot and sticky, and it's a miserable job, but the kids come out and trim them in the summertime. And the fact that, okay, we're grandparents and parents, and it's a cheap price to pay to get to see your kids every weekend. Kay's 22. She started working here when she was around 3 or 4. And her mom and dad, of course, worked out here on the weekends. We had a boom box, and we use Christmas tapes. So Kay's job was to make sure there was music playing. So she had to flip the tape over or put a new tape in. And for that, we paid her $1/4 a day and she was happy. Now she still works here, but we can't get by with paying her $1/4 a day.
In the carport.
Yeah, in the carport.
I'm really good at stocking hot chocolate, hot cider, and marshmallows. I stay on top of that. Well, I've been raised in the we're creating a tradition mantra, and so it is. It's really special to be a part of people's Christmas traditions, and as much as I look forward to being able to come out and sell trees, I know that there are people that look forward to coming out and cutting down their tree and having that time with their family. It's never been about how many people we can get out here. It's about being a part of people's Christmas traditions.
These trees, you know, you can keep them up all Christmas and they're not going to die. They're not going to lose any needles. You know, they're fresh. And our people now that come all the time have got used to that. Unfortunately, that's caused them to come out earlier and earlier, and we're getting wiped out the first weekend of sales because people coming out early, because they know they can keep that tree up until after Christmas and it'll still be nice. There's no way I could close it, because the people, I think they would string me up if I tried closing it, because they'll come out and they'll take a Charlie Brown tree as long as they can get a tree. But you know, they'll still come and get their tree every year. Our whole idea is to make something that sort of adds to Christmas. I mean, it makes for a more enjoyable Christmas. You know, it's not just buying a tree, it's having fun and enjoying it and sort of understanding what all Christmas is about.